Um, Hello, can you hear me now? Let's see if that works. Still no sound. Okay. What about now? I hope it works now. I tell you, my computer has been messing up. Yes, great. And I hope it's clear because now I have to use my laptop, and I was trying to use an external mic, which I don't know why it's not working, but hopefully it will stay working, and I hope it's clear enough for you guys. Thank you so much for letting me know that you can hear me now. So, like I was saying, please let me know if you what you do for Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving? I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed mine. I'm, still resting actually a little bit and eating Thanksgiving food. But we're going to jump right into it. We were already a little late, and I apologize for that. I like to be on time when it comes to these things, and I don't care how early I prepare. Something always has to go crazy and haywire. But we're here, and we made it, and we're going to jump into it. So, we're talking about today organization and time management in medical billing. So I came up with this. Well, okay. So I got a comment that was left on one of my videos, and I couldn't find it after I went back to look at it to give the person, give a person props for asking me to do this. But I hope they're on or they watch the replay. If you're watching the replay, put replay. But I hope they come on because they asked a question about how I stay organized as a medical biller. Because I have done two videos or three, a couple of videos in reference to organization and time management. And I thought it was a good video, live to do because I know people tend to do day in the lives and it's a pre-recorded video, but as a medical biller, it's kind of hard, I feel, unless you guys have some recommendations to do a day because I can't show you guys much. I can't barely show you anything, and I don't know how beneficial it will be. But in today's live, I'm going to give you my steps for one of the jobs that I do because you know that I work a 9 to 5 and I also have my own business. So each billing job, duty, client is different. It's not the same for everybody. But I hope you guys can take from this live pieces here and there, and it can help you get organized and use your time wisely because those are the two most important things. After you learn medical billing, you need to master time management and organization skills. So let us jump into this. I always let you guys know who I am, just in case you don't know. Maybe this is your first time. If it is, welcome and thank you for joining me. I hope you guys subscribe. If you're new, for those of you who come back each and every time, I totally appreciate your support, and I hope to continue to make videos like this if they're going to be helpful to you. So I am Tamika. I'm a certified professional biller and I'm a certified professional practice manager. I'm also a medical billing business owner. The name of my business is It's All Medical Billing. And I specialize in OBGYN billing. That doesn't mean that I don't do other types of billing, but I love OBGYN billing and I have been doing it for years. Probably 15 years or so, 17 years, I've been doing OBGYN billing, but I've also been doing other types of billing like ophthalmology, pain medicine, general surgery, pediatric behavioral health. So I have done other types of medical billing. Now, I kind of give a little bit about myself so you guys can get to know me as a person. Although I love medical billing and I can talk all things medical billing all the time, I am also a person outside of that. So my zodiac sign is Gemini, and that means the twins. So I say that because people who know me, they might see me one way and then see me another way. So they like to say, oh, I have two sides, which I think most people have more than one side, but I have a two sides. So I'm a Gemini. I am a fur mom of a pup named Cody, and I love participating in Juve and Parade. Now, I'm not sure that you guys know what Juve is. Of course, you probably know what Parade is, but here in the Virgin Islands, we have Juve, which is something like, I guess it's we go down the street, they play music, they have bands, and we kind of dance down a specific street to different types of music. And then Parade, of course, we have bands as well. It's kind of like a competition. So this year, well, every year, Parade and Juve is in January. So December is coming up on the festivities of the festival, which is our Pujan Christmas Festival. And so it starts in December and it ends in January, the beginning of January. And I look forward every year to Juve and Parade. So I don't know if you guys know about that. If you do, let me know if you've ever been in Juve and the Parade. Let me know. I'd love to hear it. So um, this weekend, we all know after Thanksgiving, you hear about Black Friday. So this weekend, I'm having a Black Friday sale, and it is for the medical billing merchandise that I have been kind of spilling out here and there to you guys. The website for the merchandise is www.itsallmedicalbilling.com. On there, you can set up a remote one-on-one consultation with me, and you can go and shop with the merchandise that you're seeing on the screen now. That is a few pieces that I have brought out since I have launched my shop. So I have t-shirts, I have t-shirts, which this is one of them. I'm wearing one of them. I have cups, and I have books, notebooks, and I plan to do have other items specifically for medical billers. I have always wanted to do something like this because when I go out and I look for stuff to wear, I represent medical billing all the time. And when I go to look for items or even to give to someone else who's a medical biller as a gift, it was not the easiest thing to find. I mean, I found things here and there, but most of the time they had stuff about coding. And I wanted to specifically give or wear things about billing. So I decided that I'm going to be the one to do it. And I started my own shop. So I hope you guys visit the shop. Let me know what you guys think. And we're having a sale from November 24th, which was Friday, to November 27th, which is Monday. So get on in there, order your stuff. They make great gifts. They make good items for you to wear, to drink out of, to use in your everyday medical billing life. So check it out. And we're going to start off or jump into it a little bit. So I did two previous videos about organization. Well, time management was the first one, and organization. So those are the two videos that you are seeing on your screen right now. And if you haven't checked those videos out, please do, because they speak about the skills that you need and how they apply to medical billing. So those are the two videos that I think would be very beneficial to you both, to you guys. They help you to understand why these two skills are so important as a medical biller, and they give tips to perfecting each skill. So like I said, you will definitely need to have these two skills. After learning medical billing, these two skills will be the most important skills that you have. And I say that because I have been in a position where I have known medical billing for years and still got backed up, got things messed up, timely filing, all types of stuff that I knew I should have been doing. But because I was not organized and I didn't manage my time correctly, there were problems and there were issues, and it made me feel horrible. I like totally hate to feel that way. So I decided that I needed to perfect these two skills. Now, I didn't come into billing knowing how to be that organized or manage my time that well, but it was something that I had to perfect and grow on. Like I had to continue to do it and make it work for me. It wasn't the same each time. It wasn't the same for each job, even though I was a medical biller each time. And I'll explain that a little bit further. But in these videos, they talk about goals, prioritization, scheduling, productivity, routines, plans, documents, and systems. So please watch those two videos after this live, of course. Watch those two videos. Give me your comments. Leave those. They're already up on my YouTube channel. Okay, so watch those. But they kind of can help you. This is what helped me in becoming organized and managing my time well. So a little disclaimer, like I said, many people asked me to do this video, and it took me a while to do it, and I didn't know how I was going to do it because, again, medical billing can be so different for different people. So please remember that you will have to adjust how you perform the tasks that I mentioned in this live. So whatever I mentioned in this live today is not a straightforward set. This is what you need to do. You will have to adjust it to your job, to yourself, to how you deal with things. No two people will do things exactly the same unless they work in the same job, doing the same exact thing, and the expectations are the same. Okay, so just please remember that. What I would like you guys to take from this video or from this live is that you need to figure out how to make it work for you no matter where you go. So if you go to work as a biller in a hospital, if you go to work as a biller in a doctor's office, OBGYN, podiatrist, a medical billing company, you go to work as a biller, you can take these uh, tips, I guess it would be, or you can take it and adjust it to how you will perform the task, because it definitely will not be the same. We most likely will not be using the same systems, and we don't have the same providers, and there's a lot of factors that take place, and you need to know how to adjust it. So let's get started. This is my day in the life as a medical biller, and I'm going to be talking about it in my 9 to 5 jobs or my 9 to 5 job, and in my business, the clients that I have. So it's kind of like a dual thing, because again, even though it's still the same person, me doing the billing, I have to adjust it to each client and to my job. So we're going to start off first with the administrative task. Okay, let me check the comments to just make sure I don't have any comments before I start to talk too much. I'm struggling with both before. Okay, so Connie says she's struggling with both still. It's been so much going on in my home, which is where I work 4 days a week. And so many people are leaving my job, and we get workload. Oh, we get their workload. Okay, Connie. So I can totally understand that. And I'm hoping that I can help you a little bit with that, because working from home, I'm trying to say this in a nice way, because a lot of people, when they get into medical billing, that's the first thing they say. I want to work from home. I'm not taking this job until I work from home. It needs to be remote. But it takes a lot of discipline. It takes, even if you weren't going through anything in your home, you may have difficulties, because it takes a lot of discipline, organization. You have to shift your mindset in order to even work from home. And I think it is beneficial to you, especially when you're new, to start off in the office. Like, I think that helps you a lot. For someone who has been doing it, I don't know, Connie, how long have you been doing it? If you've been doing it for a while, maybe that is what's saving you too, because you kind of, what you have to do. But especially for those who are new, I always recommend go and work in an office. It will help you. Even if you're not there for years and years, you're just there for, 6 months to a year. At least you get the feel of an office setting and what you're supposed to do, when and how. And I think it will benefit you more than just starting off in the office. Now, this is just my opinion, and it is different, of course, for each of us. But I really think that doing it remote is not always the best thing to do. So I start off my day all the time with administrative work. I check my emails, I check my planner, and I have two kinds of planner, which I will just show you here. Now, this is an empty page, but it is a weekly planner. So I have a weekly planner where on Sundays I will sit down, and this is for my home, for business, for work, for everything. I sit down, I write in my planner what I have scheduled for the week. So if I have a meeting at work, I'll write that in there. So since we're talking about billing, I'll write if I have a meeting at work, if I have a remote one-on-one scheduled, if I would write all of that down for that particular week, because trying to remember everything up in his brain is not happening. So I write everything down. Then I also have a book here that I write stuff in, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. But so I check my emails to see if there's anything that I need to do, especially over this weekend. So let's say when I go back to work on Monday, I may have, emails in there. Most likely I'm going to have emails. So I check them every single day. Then I go through my planner and I say, okay, what do I have to do? What did I write down, that I need to accomplish? What needs to go on today? What's in my book? Again, I write down if I need to follow up with certain patients, if I need to follow up on certain claims, if I need to call the insurance company. Like, I write all of that down in my book. Okay. Then I make any phone calls. Now, I do it in this order because for me, I'm a morning person. So I get up really early. And my brain, I feel, functions better in the morning. I don't know if it's just me. Comment below if it's you guys too, if you function better in the morning, or if you're a night owl, or even the afternoon, mid-time. When do you function best? But I know for me, I function best in the morning. So I do phone calls. Like if I had to call a patient, or if I had to call anyone, if I had to call another doctor's office, sometimes I have to do that. I do that. Then I pull charts. Or not pull charts, but I get the charts that needed to be billed. So in the provider's office that I work for, we were still using paper charts. I know people might say, oh my God, y'all are so old school. Yes, people's old school. Yes, we still use charts. And so I would pull the charts for the day. Now, again, this is what I do, which you see below. This is just an example of an ideal day and what I do, but it's, sometimes it's not typical, and sometimes it won't be typical for you because you might not have charts. So you won't be pulling charts, but I pull the charts that I need to work on if let's say on Monday coming, I will be pulling charts on Wednesday because we had a load of patients on Wednesday and I need to bill out the claims for Wednesday. So that's what I do. So this is where I will do my charge capture. So charge capture is where you put in the information into the system, being the ICD-10s, the CPT codes, all of those things. Now, as for me, I'm not the person who initially puts that in. The front desk puts that in. So when the patient was there on Wednesday, they put in that information because the doctor is the one who chooses the codes for what was done. So they put it in so that they would know what the patient owes, what the patient was doing, give them a receipt, blah, 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 all of that stuff. So I now come back and I review that. And I put in anything that was missed because, of course, sometimes they miss certain things. And because I know, well, they should be, I'm in an OBGYN office, so I know I should be doing, they should have a UPT if they did this, if they're pregnant, they should have, and they didn't put that in. I need to check and see if it was actually done, but it just wasn't marked off. And I checked that and then I would put that in. So I basically review all the charges, and sometimes I need to enter in the charges for the previous day. Then at this point, I do like, it's kind of like a scrubbing. So either your scrubbing can be manual or it can be automatic through your system. Now, the system that I use, we don't have a automatic scrubber. So I am the scrubber. And as a scrubber, or when you what do you do when you're scrubbing a claim? You will go through the demographics, you'll go through the insurance information, you'll glance through the codes. You're just trying to make sure that what you're sending out to the insurance company is complete, it's not incorrect, and you can send out a clean claim. So that's the purpose of a scrubber. In your clearinghouse, which we will get to, they sometimes also have a scrubber, so that helps as well. But having the first eye as being the scrubber, or having your practice management do the scrubbing for you, then that could be very beneficial to you. Okay, so that's what I do. I've been doing it so long that it just kind of comes like a habit to me. Okay. Um, Let me read here. So Brandy says, I work from home. I wish I trained in person at least. Yeah, Brandy. I agree with that. Even like you said, at least for the training portion, it probably should have been in person as well. It does help a lot. I know many people want to be remote, but it can be difficult. It can be really challenging sometimes. It really can. Okay, Connie says she's been with the company about 1.5 years now, but I've been home for 5 months. But everybody basically works from home one day and one from. Okay, so from home most of the time and then one day in the office. Okay, so I understand that. And I mean, there's nothing you can really do if that's what your job entails. If they need you to be remote, they can be remote. So you just kind of have to try to adjust to that, try to work around it, get yourself together. It may take a little time. Don't beat yourself up too much because it is an adjustment. It's something you have to probably continuously work on. But hopefully I can give you some tips and maybe this can help you out so that you can do a little better. And ask the questions that you need to ask below. So after I do all of the scrubbing, and what I want to say is I'm telling you guys this and I'm telling you it in a specific order because that's a part of being organized. So let's go back a little bit. When I first start off and I do the emails and I do my planner and I call and I do charts, I have that planned from like 9 o'clock because I get in at 9 to about 10:30. Okay. I have a time set in my planner for that because if you don't, you could be prolonging this forever. You could be checking emails and just lollygagging, and because it's like you don't have nothing else to do. But when you set yourself a specific time to start and to finish, you will get what you need to get done, even if it's not everything. It's the majority because you know you're on a time limit. So this is what I do in a specific order. This is my routine. We talked about routines in the videos that I told you guys about, and I mentioned it in this one, but routines are important because routines give you structure and you don't have to think about it. If I know in the mornings I, check my email, check my planner, make phone calls, pull the charts, if that is my routine every day, I don't have to think about it. If I get distracted between my planner and my phone calls because one of my coworkers need my assistance, when I come back, I know I check my emails, I know I check the planner, and now what do I have to do? My phone calls. So it's just sometimes we can get overloaded because we're trying to remember to do things, but we need to set routines. And that's a part of being organized and having managing our time. Now, communicating with staff is what I would do next. So a lot of the times before I send out claims, I would need to talk to someone. I would need to get more information from the provider. I need to query the provider. I need to add something that the front desk missed. I need to talk to the clinician about what they did with this patient. So being a biller, you have to be good with communicating with others, and it's normally not just one person. It's usually, like I said, the provider, the coders, the front desk. You're speaking to insurances, patients, like you're speaking to everybody. So you have to learn how to communicate with people. But in my process of doing my day to day, I usually communicate with the staff some way. I might not communicate with all of them, but I will definitely communicate with those that need to help me when I am sending out my claims. Now is the claim submission time. So I you can send out claims electronically through a clearinghouse, which is the fastest and the most efficient. And this doesn't take too long, for me at least. In the system that I use, I would go after I go through all the charts and make sure it's right. I have to send it out and it goes into a file. So I just go through that, it goes into a file. When it goes into that file, I take that one file and I upload it into my clearinghouse. Again, depending on the system that you use, your process may be a little bit different, but you may send it electronically to a clearinghouse. Now, the majority of my claims, I send them to a clearinghouse, but there are some that needs to be printed. So not all claims can go. If it's a smaller payer, they might not accept electronic claims. If maybe you're sending something to the VA and they don't accept it, or you're sending a secondary claim, you may have to print it and then send it by email, fax, or snail mail. I try not to send things too much by snail mail, but sometimes you have to, and that's one of the options that you use. So this part doesn't take too long. I will do it specifically in that order. I will send out electronically to the clearinghouse, and then I will print out everything that needs to be printed out. Now, I like to do things in batches, I guess, because I don't want to be doing, sending one batch of electronic claims and then printing some, and then like I want to do the electronic ones first, and then I do the printed ones. So it is a set way that I do it. Again, which helps me to remember to do all of them and keep them in a specific order or fashion that I won't forget. Now, rejection reports. So this is another part of the billing process. Now, I should have probably mentioned that this is an end-to-end biller's job. Some of you guys may just be doing some things and not others. So if you are just doing rejections or you are just doing payment posting, you may have to tweak this a little bit in what you do and what your day-to-day looks like. But this is my day-to-day because I'm an end-to-end biller and I do everything. So rejection reports is what I deal with next because I have sent out the claims to my clearinghouse and they usually send back a rejection report. So it takes about maybe 5 to 10 minutes for them to send back the rejection reports because it's pretty quick. And so I do this daily. So if I send out claims, I check my rejection reports daily. And this is just an example of what a rejection report looks like. But this one is basically saying that the social security number or the employee number is not found on the carrier's file. So that means basically that maybe there it was a number incorrect in the ID number, or maybe the employee really just is not a part of that specific insurance. They're a part of another insurance, so you have to check that out. I try to work that daily, and I try to correct them daily. I don't just pull a report and say, "Oh, okay, this is what's going on, and that's not right," and then I don't do nothing about it. Normally, rejections are easy fixes, and they can go right back out. So I work my daily rejections. Then I create like a spreadsheet of the most common rejections, because that's a way for me to um, help the other areas, or even help myself to figure out why are these claims being rejected. Now, for me, I can say most of the time the claims are rejected for things like ID numbers, they're not going to the correct insurance, um, when date of birth is missing or incorrect, like the demographics, and most of that has to do with the front desk. So me creating the spreadsheet will be able to help them in making a mistake. So I would create this spreadsheet for the month, and then I would go to them and say, okay, so we've sent out 200 claims, and out of those 200 claims, we have had 25 come back. And the reasons they've came back is because of this insurance, name, blah, blah, blah. And that also is the rejection rate. So the total amount rejected, let's say 20, and divided by the total submitted, which is, let's say, 100, then the rejection rate is 20%. Now, your practice might decide, well, they want to be under a specific threshold, that their KPIs should be something specific, like, maybe 5%. They want a 5% rejection rate. And so that's something to work towards when you are creating these spreadsheets. Spreadsheets and reports, all of them should be used to help better the organization in the long run. They need to be able to assist and improve your practice. So, like I said, I would work the daily rejections, and I would create a spreadsheet that would also help me determine why these are being rejected. Now, I am also the office manager in the practice that I work for, but let's say I wasn't. Let's say I'm just the biller. Then I would take that to my supervisor or whoever supervises the front desk, and I would say, okay, this is how many claims were sent out, this is how many were rejected, and this is the reason, so that you can help the front desk and that you guys can get better. You just don't want to keep correcting rejections that can be fixed before, you just want to have the first time you send out the claim, that it is correct. Then we may be payment posting. So at this point, I just put a little sample. Now, this sample of our electronic remittance advice is from Noridian, Medicare Noridian. Medicare has different MACs, and so this one was from Noridian. And it just shows, this is what you would usually use when you are posting your payments. So you can manually post payments, or you can automate it. So for the most part, I have always manually posted payments, but I know there are systems now. I want to give this to you guys straight, because it is the electronic and the technology that's out there really do help you work faster, be more efficient. But when you work for providers, which is what I work for, most of the time smaller offices, not hospitals so much, because most of the time hospitals will have these technologies put in place because they can afford to do that, and they have a lot of staff and they need to do that. But when you come down to the smaller private practices, a lot of times the providers do not, either they don't have the funds to do it, or they think they don't have the funds to do it, or they don't know about it, whatever the situation is. And a lot of things you have to do manually. and that can take up a lot of time. For me, when it comes to posting payments, I've been doing it, like I said, so long, especially in this specialty, that I can like do that with my eyes closed. And when there are errors, I kind of like see them and like, okay, no, that didn't make sense. The allowed amount is not the right amount because I've been doing it so long. But when you're new, you have to set out a specific amount of time to post payments. You need to maybe give yourself, and it depends on how much payments you have to post. You can maybe have to post 100 payments in a day, and that can be a lot for you. So you need to figure out how long it's going to take you, and then decide if you're going to do it in the morning, in the night. Like, you need to decide now. It doesn't need to go in the flow that I'm doing it. Again, this is how I like to do it, but you can do it the way you want to do it. You need to make sure that you're alert, because you have to catch any errors. You have to make sure you're putting in the patient's chart, the right chart. Like, you have so many things to do, so you need to be alert. So if you're an afternoon person, don't go posting payments in the morning and then you're like sleepy and groggy and you put the payment in the wrong patient's chart. It can be a mess. So I do this. By the time I'm doing this, it's pretty much maybe like 11, close to 12 o'clock. And this is when I do my payment posting. During payment posting, I capture my denial workflow. So in here, I can see payments that were denied, that were, requesting more information, whatever the situation is. So I kind of capture that so I can know what I have to deal with. Now, I don't want to work denials as I am posting payments. That's going to slow me down. Again, I want to batch all my things together. I just want to do payment posting. That's all I want to do. So I would make a little mark. I would write down information. I would do whatever I have to do, but I will not stop and then try to fix that denial one time. I have a time to do denials, and this is not the time, okay? So I kind of capture that in the workflow. I enter my payments, post payments. Now, I try to do this every day. Try, keyword. Sometimes, though, things happen. Again, I have other duties. I'm also a practice manager. So I might have a day full of meetings. I might have some other thing to do. So, but I do not let my posting payments go past 2 days, because then you start to fall behind and you cannot, you can't send out patient statements, because you haven't put in insurance payments, and it just becomes a whole thing. So I do not let my payment posting go past 2 days. Like I said, it takes me about an hour and a half. And that could be maybe, I put in a lot of payments sometimes. So it just depends. Like I said, it could be between a half an hour, it could be between an hour and a half. It just depends on how many. Maybe an hour and a half is about 100, maybe about 100 or so. I never really counted, but that's probably what it is. And then just to make sure that you have a storage system for retrieval. Now, you can maybe take the remittance advice and put it on your computer in the cloud, or you can put it, you can print it, put it in a file cabinet. Like, whatever your storage retrieval system is, you need to have one, because you may need to pull back up the remittance advice at a later time. Okay, you may need to, so you want to have a system that you can use to make sure that you can retrieve the ERAs. So Connie says, my supervisor runs a report every Monday on rejected or denied claims, and I have about 3 or 4 spreadsheets, but they are mostly repeats because they are not complete. Most of them are mine, not all. Okay, so do you have to work you just have to work rejections in general, or do you have to work everybody's rejections and denials? Or is that like your only job in billing? Because I like to run my rejection reports, like I said, right after I send them. Now, the clearinghouse that I use, Inovalon, you get that report quick. So I just want to make sure that I get it done and then work them. Because again, rejections are usually quick and fast. Something like the name or, the date of birth, whatever. Denials now may take a little bit longer. You might have to do a little bit of digging. So I kind of set out a time for that, to do that, instead of trying to work that every single day or every single time, because it sometimes is a little bit more involved than just, oh well, you spelled the person's name incorrect and you can't, you have to fix it. So I try to do my rejections quick. To me, rejections can be really quick, and you can just get them done and send them back out. That's my thought process on rejection. And also in posting payments is patient payments. Now, for me, the front desk post payments, and when they're on or in the patient's chart, they're in the chart. And since they also do the charge capture, the payments are already there. So I don't have to post, let's say, the copays and deductible amounts and the co-insurance amounts. I don't have to do that. I just have to review them, look them over. So, however, some billers are the ones who have to actually post patient payments as well. So you might be one of those, so you need to fit that in your day too. You might want to do that maybe first thing in the morning, to for the patients from yesterday, or I don't know, whatever is best for you. You may want to do that. But again, I don't have to do that because they are already posted by the front desk. So when I get in the patient's chart, the payments are already there. Then there is patient statements. So after I go through the remittance advice and I post the insurance payments, there may be some balances that some patients may need to pay. So I review to make sure that it's correct before I send it out. I try not to make errors because you don't want patients calling you, cursing you out like, I already paid my $20 copay and I don't know why I'm getting this bill. And, so you just want to review it, make sure that the bill is in fact correct. And I usually send out the statement. I do that again right after I post the payments for the insurance. And then sometimes I can print them in batches. So we'll talk about that, but usually that's done at a later point, and I would send out a batch bunch of statements for patients. Now you need to make sure that your system is correct, because I remember working for a provider before where the system was all crazy. So I had to go through each patient's account individually because it wasn't calculated correctly. So I didn't want to just send out a batch of statements because some were wrong, some were right. And again, you don't want your patients to be getting upset about you sending them a bill that they do not or don't deserve to get. And then the end of day task. So I have end of day tasks. So again, I told you in a provider's office that I work for, we have paper charts. So I have to file away the charts that I use. Not everybody's charts, the ones that I've used for the day. I check my email again because you just want to make sure there's nothing that was urgent during the day. Now, I don't check my email continuously throughout the day. Again, that's a killer of your time. That gets you unfocused. Now you're going to try and deal with what's going on with that email, unless someone says, well, I sent you an email, it's urgent, and you need to watch it, something like that. So I check my email about an hour or so before I leave. So if there is something that I need to do, I can, work on it, do it, or whatever. Check my planner again. This time, I'm checking to see that I do everything I have to do, and I'm also writing in it what I want to do for the next day. So there might have been stuff that I was trying to get to, I didn't get to do it, and I might want to put that down in my planner or in my book. Again, I have a little book like this, and I would put in people's names and, okay, I need to call back Blue Cross Blue Shield about Jane Doe, and I'll put that in there. And then when the page fills up, again, it needs to be in a locked, secure place because you don't want anybody just picking this up. And then when I'm finished with the actual page itself, I pick it out, shred it in, and it goes. Okay, so I document stuff in the patient's chart and in the practice management system, of course, but I'm a paper and pen person and I like to write it down first. I don't know if it's just me. Let me know if you guys do that too, but I do that. Sometimes it can be redundant, but I like to do that. Then we have the day sheets. So if I put in payments for the day, I want to balance them, reconcile them, make sure that I what was entered into the system is what was also the amount of checks that I got or the amount of ERAs that I put in. I want to make sure that they balance, right? Because one, I can make a mistake. I'm human. Two, even if you do the automatic payment posting, the computer can make a mistake. It is not human, so it can make a mistake. So you want to check that. And then from that day sheet, I do deposits. Not everybody does deposits, but I do the deposits for, checking to make sure we have the right amount of money. The front desk closed out the credit card machines and we balance. So that's checks and balance. They do it, then I check it, and we make sure that everything is right. And at the end of the day, I organize my desk and my office for the next day. I like to come back to a clean desk. It makes me feel, when things are chaotic and messy, I feel chaotic and messy. So I try to make sure that my desk is organized, that my office is organized, and that everything is kind of put back in place where it needs to go. Okay, Connie says, when you say post patient, are you talking about billing the patient? Oh, posting pay. So okay, so two things. Well, when I'm talking about posting payments for patients, that is when, let's say, some billers, when a patient, let's say, makes their $30 copay, they would be the ones required to put it in the system. Some billers that happens. For me, like I was saying, that doesn't happen. The front desk would put in that payment, and then I would just review it, make sure that it's the right thing, da da da. Also, some systems, the front desk may put in the $20 payment, but they would just probably just put it in. It's not attached to any charge. It's not attached to anything like that. So then, as the biller, you have to come in after the fact and attach that payment to that specific date of service or to that charge. So sometimes you have to do that. And then, of course, I was saying patient statements. So after I post insurance's payment, there may be a balance that the patient didn't pay, and I would send out a statement for that. So again, you may be required to do one, some, or all of these that I just mentioned, because depending on your system that you have, depending on the amount of patients you have in your office, you may be required to do certain things. I don't have to initially post payments for patients, and I don't have to attach the payment to the charge because the front desk puts in the charges as well. So they put in the charges and then they put in the payments, and then I just come back and like review it and make sure everything's okay. Only, let's say, I would only if there is payments that may have come through the mail. If somebody sends a check through the mail, I get like the checks and the insurance payments, so I would post that to a patient. But that's few and few in between. Like there's not too many people who do that. So I don't really have to do that too much. So I hope that answered your question. And then there are additional duties. So stuff like patient and insurance aging reports, which I do monthly, both of them. Depending on where you work, you may have to do it more regularly or less frequently because of maybe how much patients you have, the patient load. So that just depends. But the norm is usually 1 month you do a patient and insurance aging report, which I do mine monthly. Then I also do patient and insurance refunds. Now, this is a key thing that many people don't do. I have realized in so many doctors' offices that when it comes to refunding, especially patients, they do not do it. It's like that is like the last thing they want to do, but it is required and you should refund a patient. If a patient overpays you for any reason, you should be refunding this patient and you need to set it in a time where you it's something that you continuously do. So you just how I do it is I put the patients on a list. So as I find out that this patient overpaid or this happening, I put them on a list, and then so if they call and ask me, well, when their refund is going to come out, I can tell them, well, it'll be coming out next month. I do patient agent reports and insurance agent reports. I do on the first of the month, so that takes me about 3 to 4 days to do both the patient and insurance agent reports. So the first through the fourth, I am doing that in between my day. Then patient and insurance refunds I do on the 15th of the month. So I again have it set up where I know who I'm going to be paying, and we kind of have it where we set a limit to how much we pay out. So after I reach that point, then next month it'll be another set for the patient and insurance. And then that keeps you up with the insurance as well, because you won't have insurances calling you. I remember I used to get like, why does people keep calling me? I don't have the money, but you're the biller, so they're gonna call you about their refunds. If they find that they overpaid, meaning the insurance overpaid, they want their money and they're gonna keep calling you to try and figure out, or they're gonna recoup it from one of your remit advice. And I hate when they do that because it just messes up the whole flow of interim payments and deposits, and you have to make notes, and it's just a hassle. So I would prefer to be able to write them a check and give them back their refund that way. But of course, if you take too long, some of the insurance companies recoup the payments, and actually they shouldn't be doing that, but that's a whole nother story. We're not going to get into it. And then I have collection reports. So collection meaning those people who you've sent out several statements for and they do not make a payment. So you are sending them to a collection agency. I work those reports monthly because how we have it set up in the office, especially if you haven't made a payment, haven't set up a payment plan, anything like that, in 3 months, you go to the collection agency. Then we have the duties that you can't really necessarily predict. So stuff like answering calls. So if a patient calls, I answer patient calls. I like to watch other people's YouTube videos. And I saw one where someone commented that they don't deal with patient phone calls at all. And it was so funny that I was like, really? But again, it's just each job different. I might be a biller, you might be a biller, but we can do completely different things. But I answer phone calls, so within the day when people call about their bills and all those stuff, I deal with that. Of course, calling insurance companies. I try to put them. I don't like. We all call insurance companies that have to be on hold for hours and hours. So I try to do that one time. Well, not really one time, because if I have to call Blue Cross Blue Shield and I have to call Cigna and I have to call, I don't know, Medicare, that's 3 calls. But I make sure that it is 3 calls for all the patients that I have to do. And a lot of them will only allow you to call and ask about 3 patients at a time. So you don't want it to pile up and back up, because then you're either going to have to hang up and call again, or you're going to have to put that off to the next day. So if you do that every day, you won't get back up. And then, of course, answering in-house questions from providers, from the coders, from front desk who have a question and the patient's up front and you need to deal with that. Like all of those things you also have to do. So now it is question and answer time. If you guys have any more, don't forget to connect with me. Check me out. I don't know if you're watching me on Facebook YouTube, wherever. But check me out on YouTube at Medical Billing Maven and Facebook and Instagram at It's All Medical Billing. And I'm on LinkedIn under Tamika J. Duncan. So let me answer some of these questions. Okay, so Connie said oh, I answered that already. Okay, so I'm up. I've been trying to answer questions at the same time of doing the presentation so I can stay on it and remember what it was that I actually was talking about. So I don't know. I hope this was beneficial for you guys because again, I can't give you a set way to do something. Again, we all are using different systems. We have different our supervisors or whatever. We have different ways of doing things. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Okay, Connie said, I don't do patient calls so far. I mean, we calls from because you share regarding a patient and try to fix the problem that way. Oh, video. Okay. Okay. So you see, you don't deal with patient calls. Now, are you okay? So I know. Oh, and probably too, because I think you said you're working remotely. That may be a reason that. How big are you working for a doctor's office or are you working for a hospital? That is also plays a role in maybe what you have to do. I like talking to patients. Actually, I for a while there, I was kind of thinking about getting into patient advocacy because I just love to help them. I remember one of my bosses. They were like, "Because that's not your job to be, trying to help these patients." I said, "It is my job. Like, if I see a patient who don't understand their insurance, who don't know what copay, co-insurance is, they're confused. I don't just like to call patients and be like, you owe us money, your insurance is not paying. And they might ask, well, why? I thought, I paid my $20 copay. So I would just explain, okay, you do have a $20 copay, but you also have a deductible and you had a procedure done and that procedure went towards your deductible. A deductible is such a like I'm a teacher. I feel like I'm a teacher, especially when it comes to medical billing. So I like to speak to patients. And I find it that overall, like knowing each part and dealing with all the parts really helped me in learning medical billing. Like it wasn't just like I was just doing one thing. It really helped me understand how every part of medical billing is important. Like everything, posting payments, you know, aging. Like some people think one part is more important than the other, and I'm not one of those people. Every single part is important because if any of the parts, um, if the ball is dropped on any of the parts, there's going to be a problem because everything is connected to each other. So I really, really hope that was beneficial to you guys. Like I said, remember that I'm still running the special. Check it out. It is on the website for it is here below. Check that out. There's t-shirts, there are mugs, there's journals, and I will be adding more and more and more designs. Like I have so many designs in my head already, but I just said let me throw this out. It was Black Friday, or it's Black Friday week. Today is Small Business Saturday, I think it is. So support a small business. Doesn't have to be me, but whoever you do support, please support a small business because it's small businesses that make up the communities that we are in. There are big ones, but us small ones make up the community. So support a small business. And I'm not going to keep rambling unless you guys have any more questions. And if you have a question and I do not answer it tonight or here, you can always leave it in the comments. I answer all my comments. I go through them all. So Connie said she works in a hospital, but I do physician billing for the doctor's offices that are under the hospital. Okay. And so that's what I work different claims for different specialties. Oh, okay, good. And how do you like I said, I like OBGYN. But I do like to know about different specialties because each specialty has its own nuance. Like the foundation is the basics, but each specialty has a little bit. You need to know a little bit about this. You need to know a little bit about that. Like billing it, you might have to bill it in a different way because it's this specialty versus that specialty. So I find that intriguing. It could be just me. I'm a little crazy. But I find that, intriguing. And I had always wanted to work for a hospital. I was like, I'm going to see if I can get a job in a hospital. But physician billing is what I love the most, I think. So I don't think I will be doing the hospital thing anymore. I think I was just trying to, be in things. But it has been an hour, guys, and I thank you so much for joining me. Um, I will be doing my lives every fourth Friday of the month. And for the new year, I have lots of videos planned for the new year. So if you have any that you want me to speak about, I can see if I can kind of fit it in my schedule. Um, Connie says it's a lot. Yeah, I could bet it's a lot. I definitely know it can definitely be a lot. And that you're in the business office. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can bet. And um the big okay, so do you just do billing or is it like a combination of jobs? Because I know that too, because I'm a lot of things in my office, and that's usually how it is, especially when it comes to doing physician billing. There's a lot of things that you have to do. You're like dual positions or something. But I thank you so much for joining me. Um, I will see you guys, like I was saying, in my next video. I put out videos every Saturday. I'm live every fourth Saturday. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Leave that in the comments below, and I'm sure to get back to you. So, have a good night. Thank you so much for joining me.